Have you ever asked yourself, what do I actually do for a living? Not the job title on your LinkedIn, not the list of tasks in your HR system, but what do you actually create, improve, or contribute? Now, if you're a doctor saving lives or an engineer building bridges, the answer is clear. But if you're a senior optimization coordinator in a giant insurance firm, the question suddenly gets a lot harder. Here's the shocking part. 100 years ago, less than a quarter of all jobs were in services. Today, nearly 4 out of 5 workers are. That's not just baristas or hotel staff. It's everyone from call center agents to C-suite executives. And yet, a disturbing percentage of these jobs don't create any real value. They exist only to justify their own existence. So, how did we end up with millions of people in jobs that even they secretly believe are meaningless? To answer that, we need to start somewhere unexpected: the Soviet Union. The Soviets believed all work was noble. When there wasn't enough meaningful work, factories simply invented roles to keep everyone employed. Entire floors of workers were hired to count bolts, file pointless reports, or watch over people who didn't need watching. It was called worker hoarding. Now, here's the twist. Modern capitalism, supposedly leaner, more efficient, has recreated the exact same problem. But instead of communism, it's driven by corporate bureaucracy, professional image management, and a culture obsessed with 40-hour weeks. Anthropologist David Graeber broke these jobs into 5 categories. But let's give them some sharper, real-world examples. First, the flunkies. These are people whose main role is to make someone else look important. Think of executives with personal drivers, even though an Uber would do, or assistants who exist just to manage a calendar that software could handle automatically. Second, the duct tapers. They spend their days patching problems that shouldn't exist. The IT worker who resets passwords all day because the company refuses to upgrade its login system, or the airline employee rebooking flights every time the system crashes, instead of the airline fixing its software. Third, the box tickers. They make companies look good on paper, without adding real value. The head of diversity, who produces glossy reports, but never changes hiring practices. The HR team that runs culture days with balloons and donuts, while employee turnover stays sky high. Fourth, the goons. Jobs that only exist because other people have them. Corporate lobbyists rewriting tax laws, which forces other companies to hire lobbyists of their own. Patent trolls suing over ideas like swipe to unlock, or PR teams spinning scandals that wouldn't exist if the company acted ethically. And finally, the taskmasters. Managers overseeing people who don't need managing. The sales team lead, who spends most of their day in meetings telling reps to sell more, or the regional VP, whose real job is just reporting to another VP. And here's the kicker. Some jobs aren't just one of these. They're a mix of all 5. Entire departments exist not to create value, but to make someone higher up look important. So if capitalism is so efficient, why hasn't the free market eliminated this waste? Because, just like the Soviet Union, the system rewards appearances. Factory managers hoarded workers to look powerful. Today, managers hoard employees to look important. Soviet walls were plastered with propaganda about heroic labor. Our walls. LinkedIn feeds full of self-congratulatory jargon about spearheading cross-platform innovation. Different words, same psychology. The consequences are massive. We've built an economy where lawyers make more money fighting over rectangles with rounded corners than engineers make designing new technologies. Where lobbyists spend billions bending laws instead of building products. Where armies of employees sit in offices making PowerPoints about synergy instead of doing anything real. And here's the hard truth. Almost every job has some bull built into it. Pointless meetings, busy work tasks, reports nobody reads. But instead of saying, "My work is done, I'm going home," we stretch out tasks to fill 40 hours, because that's what the culture demands. So, what's the solution? As a society, it means rethinking the obsession with the 40-hour week, recognizing that productivity isn't measured by how long you sit at a desk. As individuals, your options are limited. You can tolerate it, escape it by building something of your own, or embrace it. Plenty of people take pride in their overinflated job titles. Sometimes knowing it's all a bit of show makes the pointless PowerPoints easier to swallow. And the most important question to consider: if so much of our economy is built on jobs that don't matter, how much of our economy is even real?